Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cruise News Show. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news. Story number one, Princess Cruise Lines receives a new cruise ship. There was a big ceremony yesterday in Malfalcone, Italy, where the shipyard Fincantieri turned over possession of the Enchanted Princess to Carnival Corporation. The ceremony was attended virtually by the bigwigs there at Carnival Corp. This ship was a big milestone ship for the shipbuilder there, Fincantieri. It was their 100th cruise ship that they built to completion. Big milestone for them and also a big milestone for Carnival Corporation. The Enchanted Princess is a sister to the Sky Princess, and it's one of the newest medallion class cruise ships for Princess Cruise Lines. It's a 145,000-ton vessel hosting 3,660 passengers. She will be going into service in 2021. There's been a lot of attention given to cruise ships leaving the fleet this year, and it is part of the ebb and flow of the cruise business. Ships come and ships go, and so we've had a couple Princess cruise ships leave, and now we've got one coming onto the scene. Congratulations, Fincantieri, for your 100th ship build. That seems impressive, and congrats on Carnival Corp for getting a new cruise ship. Story number two deals with the election and the important issues at hand. We are 33 days until November 3rd, which is Election Day, and everybody has some tough choices to make, and no tougher choice out there to be made is whether or not to allow cruise ships to continue to go to Key West, Florida. The old adage is idle hands are the devil's playground, and it's pretty interesting that in the absence of cruise ships, there was a segment of the population in Key West, Florida that went, hey, this is kind of nice. Be cool if we didn't have cruise ships all the time. And out of that, a movement was born to ban cruise ships in Key West, Florida. A local advocacy group there in Key West garnered enough signatures to get a vote to ban cruise ships on the ballot for November 3rd. It's been challenged a few times in the court. All obstacles have been removed, and this will be on their ballot right next to the presidential race, whether or not to allow cruise ships. The proposal specifically seeks to block any cruise ships that are carrying more than 1,300 passengers, and on top of that, put a cap on how many cruise passengers can enter Key West on a given day. That cap is 1,500. But essentially, if you look at the modern cruising fleet, that's going to knock out most cruising vessels. Most of the cruising vessels have more than a 1,300 passenger capacity. So in reality, if this thing passes, it would probably remove Key West as an itinerary for cruisers. It's going to be interesting to watch. I've been to Key West a couple times. It's a fun place to visit, but possibly after Election Day, it will be no more. Have you been to Key West? Did you like it? Do you hope it stays? Let me know in the comments. Our next story deals with airlines and airline workers. If you've been tracking along with it, there have been protections in place for airline workers. Their jobs have been protected by a stimulus package that was passed by Congress early in the pandemic. That stimulus package has expired on October the 1st, and now major airlines are set to furlough many employees. Announcements already coming out from American Airlines and United Airlines. American Airlines set to furlough 19,000 workers. United set to furlough 13,000 workers. So a really bad day for many American workers in the travel business, in the airline business. A whole lot of people that will not have jobs, and questionable whether or not they will have their health insurance. And so, yes, the virus continues to take toll on the life that we know, and more specifically on the travel industry. Now, before we get to the next cruise news story, I would invite you to subscribe if you enjoy those cruise news updates. Hit that notification bell, and that way you won't miss out on any of these episodes. So let's talk about last night's late breaking news. The CDC officially extends the No Sail Order for 31 days until October the 31st. Now, for most of us, it wasn't a surprise because we'd read the insider information provided by Axios talking about the back and forth in the coronavirus task force between Vice President Mike Pence and the head of the CDC, Robert Redfield. Redfield pushing for a ban of 150 days, pushing the extension all the way to the end of February 2021, and receiving pushback from other members on the committee, specifically Mike Pence, saying that's too long. How about we compromise and just extend it until October the 31st? And boom, that's what happened. So it becomes an interesting scenario for the cruise companies because now their date to return to cruising aligns with the CDC's no-sail ban. And while on first glance you may think, well, that alignment is good, it's a challenge for the cruise companies because they have to make a decision whether or not to start restaffing their cruise ships. There's a great expense with bringing crew back on board, positioning cruise ships to get ready for passengers again, getting all of the infrastructure in place to go cruising. And now that there is an alignment between their date and the date of the CDC, well, the CDC could extend the no sail order again if it doesn't like what it sees in the next 31 days. The glimmer of hope is that look into the Situation Room in the White House, where there's conversations about the cruise lines working closely with the administration to prove that they are ready to go cruising. It does seem like there is dialogue going behind the scenes, but those aren't official things that we know about. The only thing that we know officially is that the no sail order has been extended for 31 days. And there's no guarantee that that won't be extended again. You got to think that the cruise industry has some inside knowledge. And that leads us into our last cruise news story today. Carnival Cruise Line canceling all U.S. cruises for November and December, with the exception of cruises leaving the port of Miami and Port Canaveral. This move is not a move that should be taking people by surprise. We've been talking about it for the last month, that there would probably be a clearing of the board, that there would probably be an isolation of cruise ports to try to get cruising resumed out of, and that's exactly what we see here. It's a bummer because Carnival has a lot of embarkation ports across the country, and now we see all of that knocked off the board with only 2 ports remaining to try to get cruising going again. Personally, I think it's a good strategy. We've been talking about it for a little while. The best chance that the cruise lines are going to have to get going again is to do it in a very controlled, very minimalist way, and that is what you see here. It also helps mitigate the risk of a possible extension of the no sail order again. They will have to spend money to get cruise ships ready to go out of Miami and Port Canaveral, but it's not like spending the same amount of money if you got cruise ships ready to go from all of your ports at one time. This makes sense to me from a resuming cruising perspective. Of course, the downside is a lot of people got cruise cancellation notices today. Begs the question, what will the other major cruise lines do? I would anticipate that you will see something similar. I would not be shocked if Royal comes out with some cancellations, Norwegian comes out with some cancellations. The wild card in this mix is MSC Cruise Lines. I think they will also come back in a limited capacity, but they don't necessarily follow in the same lanes as the major 3, and so it's going to be interesting to watch what's going on, not only with Royal, Norwegian, but also to see what MSC does. MSC having huge success in Europe. It's going to be interesting if they bring that model over to the U.S. and give it a shot in November and December. My prediction is that we will see some cruising in November and December from U.S. ports, but as I've said over the last few weeks, it won't be a lot, and it will be for very few people. But overall, I do believe we were on the path to seeing cruising resume in the short term, which for me makes me excited. What do you think? Did you have a cruise canceled today? Are you taking the refund? Are you taking a future cruise credit? And to everybody out there, what do you think this means for cruising? Is this extension of the no sail good or bad? Do you see this as a path back to cruising or just more roadblocks? Let's have the conversation. Thank you so much for watching the Cruise News Show today. Please show your support by hitting the like button. My name's Tony for Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.